I believe he put some thought and planning on his house. To build with brick was to say that his house would be able to sustain anything that came his way. When building, one must first build on the right foundation before adding the other stuff. And that foundation is Christ. Except the Lord build his house, you labor in vain that build it. Be careful what you build on. What are you building on? Are you building on your emotions, your desires, or are you building on your Christ? The third one in the story, the fourth character, was the wolf. The watchman waited, but in vain. I need y'all to go with me so I can take my seat. Christ told us that oftentimes a wolf comes in sheep clothing. But here he was as a wolf. We will liken him to the enemy, showing himself as he really is, a foe. Little Red Riding Hood thought he was her friend. Come on, stay with me. This is what gets a lot of church in trouble. The Lord said we must watch and pray that we enter not into temptation. The wolf, the one that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Saw them building, y'all, but he never said a word. It was only until they were satisfied and comfortable did he show up. He goes to the first pig's straw house and he says, little pig, let me in. And the pig says, according to the story, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. So the wolf says, well, I'm going to huff. And I'm going to pop. And I'm going to blow your house in. He does. And the pig and his straw house are devoured by the wolf. And he moves to his next victim. Then the wolf goes, to the other pig. And he looks at his straw house. And he devours that as well. Little pig, let me in. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. But I'm a huff. And I'm a pop. And I'm a blow your house in. So the second pig and his stick house were destroyed. So the wolf moves on to the third pig's house, somewhere down in the project. Little pig, let me in. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Well, I'm a huff, and I'm a pop, and I'm a blow your house in. So the little pig, watching through the peephole, knew that he had built on a solid foundation. See, it's good when you know that you know that you know that you know. Your house is solid on Christ. The wolf huffs. He says, like if you don't let me in, I'm going to huff and I'm going to puff and I'm going to blow your house in. And the little pig said, bring it on. Bring it on. So the wolf began to huff and he puffs and he huffs and he puffs and he puffs and he huffs and he huffs and he puffs and he puffs and he huffs and he puffs and he huffs and he puffs and he runs in the crop. And the pig that built his house out of brick was safe. And his house stood. Except the Lord build a house. Come on, somebody. They labor in vain that build. See, if the Lord builds your house, then he has already assumed the responsibility says in his word, I watch over my word to perform it. And God is not a man that he should lie. So we know right now we can trust him at his word. Amen? Except the Lord keep your stuff, the watchman waketh but in vain. See, some people build on the finer things of life. And then you got to stay up all night watching it. You got alarm systems, locks, bolts, guard dogs, you name it, you got it. But if he who sleeps nor slumbers builds your house, he'll watch your stuff. Be careful what you build on. Be careful what you build on. God has given us the right supplies. He has blessed us with the right mate, the right career, the proper children, the right members in our church, loyal laborers. And you know, we go off and we began to build. But what we're building sometimes goes south. Why? Because we often take God, what he has taken and given us and blessed us with, we often exclude him out the project. We often take what God has blessed us with and exclude him off the building committee. We often take what God has blessed us with and begin to build with the wrong motives. We have often taken what God has blessed us with and supplied us with, and we move in our own desires. But I hear the Spirit saying, if the vision tarry, wait for it. Except the Lord build your stuff, you labor in vain that build it. The funny thing is that we look to the Lord for our supply, you know, because he will supply all of our needs according to his riches and glory. Okay? But when we get the supplies from him, we decide that we don't need him anymore. So we began to move in our own desires, not taking thought that the storms will come and the winds will blow and the wolf is watching. When our house begins to crumble down around us, we began to blame God for it. We say, well, Lord, I stayed with this man. Lord, I went to that church. I started that ministry. Lord, I stayed on my job. But see, it's not God's fault if we don't follow the blueprints. Except the Lord build the house. See, we got to do things God's way. From beginning to end, or our labor and our hard work will be in vain. I don't know about you, but I don't want to work my blood pressure up and my health down and then learn later that I have labored in vain. Today is time for the church to call it truths. It's time for the church to remember our first love. It's time for the church to stop doing things for self-gratification. Except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that built it. How does one know he's building in vain?